This is question 2 from exercise 6.4 in Project Maths 2. So for part 1 we have to solve the equation x squared minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. And for part 2 it says hence or otherwise find the values of t for which t plus 2 minus 1 all squared minus 8 times t minus 1 plus 15 is equal to 0. And we'll take this one step at a time. We'll start with part 1. And we have to solve the equation x squared minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. X squared minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to brackets in this because there's no coefficient of x and we have to factorize in order to solve this. So the first term in each bracket are going to be factors of x squared. It's going to be x and x. And the second term in each bracket are going to be factors of 15 that sum to 8. So if we do add our factors of 15 here, we've got 1 times 15, we've got 3 times 5, or we have minus 1 times minus 15, and minus 3 times minus 5. Well, minus 3 minus 5 will be equal to minus 8, so it's going to be minus 3 minus 5. So we have x minus 3 and x minus 5. And now that we have two things, in other words these two brackets we multiply together equal to 0, we can set them together separate equal to 0. So x minus 3 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. So x equal to 3 and x is equal to 5. So those are our solutions to part 1. Now for part 2, we've got hence or otherwise find the values of t for which. Now when a question says hence, what they usually mean is take the information that you've got in your previous part of your answer and use that to solve this next question. So looking at that, let's try this using the values we've got so far. If we compare the two quadratic equations we have, we've got x squared minus 8x plus 15 equals 0 and 2t minus 1 all squared minus 8 times 2t minus 1 plus 15 equals 0. These two equations are identical except for one thing. In the second equation that we have in part 2, instead of having x like we do above, we have brackets and inside them we have 2t minus 1. So in other words, what we're saying at this point is that x is equal to 2t minus 1. And if x equals 2t minus 1 and x is equal to 3 and x is equal to 5, then what we can do is we can say that 2t minus 1 equals 3. And we can say 2t minus 1 equals 5. And from there we can solve the two of them out. So we get 2t equals 3 plus 1, 2t equals 4, so t is equal to 2. We can do the same thing over here. 2t is equal to 5 plus 1, so 2t is equal to 6, so t is equal to 3. And those will be our two values for t for part 2. Now the hence or otherwise part of this, where it says or otherwise, that is saying that there is another way to go about solving this if you want. And the way that you would do that is you would actually do out these brackets and you would end up with a quadratic equation with t instead of x, and you would have to solve that. So let's do that out that way, the other way, and see if we get the same solution as before. So we've got 2t minus 1 all squared minus 8 times 2t minus 1 plus 15 is equal to 0. So if we multiply our brackets, if we expand the first bracket out, we get 4t squared minus 4t plus 1. When we multiply the next bracket, we get minus 16t plus 8 plus 15 is equal to 0. Now we're going to add what can be added together and take away what can be taken away. So 4t squared is just going to stay as is. Minus 4t minus 16t is going to be minus 20t. And then 1 plus 8 plus 15 is going to be 1 plus 8 is 9. And 9 plus 15 is going to be 24. So it's going to be plus 24. That's equal to 0. At this point, we can factorize this as is, but since every single term, including 0 that we've got written here, can be divided by 4, we can do that to make an easier quadratic. So we end up with t squared minus 5t plus 6 is equal to 0. And now we're going to go to our brackets to factorize this quadratic. We're looking for factors of 6, that's sum 2 minus 5. So we have 1 by 6, we have 2 by 3, minus 1 times minus 6, and minus 2 times minus 3. And we're going to take minus 2 times minus 3. So we get t minus 2 multiplied by t minus 3. And then from there, we take each bracket separately, and we say t minus 2 is equal to 0, t minus 3 is equal to 0. So we get t equals 2, t equals 3. So exactly the answer that we got above, it just took us far longer to get there because of all the multiplication involved. So that is how you would solve the quadratic given there by substitution. And that is that.